The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Glory to you, O Lord. As Jesus was leaving Jericho with his disciples and a sizable crowd, Bartimaeus, a blind man, the son of Timaeus, sat by the roadside begging. On hearing that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to cry out and say, "Jesus, Son of David, have pity on me." And many rebuked him, telling him to be silent. But he kept calling out all the more, "Son of David, have pity on me." Jesus stopped and said, "Call him." So they called the blind man, saying to him, "Take courage, get up, Jesus is calling you." He threw aside his cloak, sprang up, and came to Jesus. Jesus said to him in reply, "What do you want me to do for you?" The blind man replied to him, "Master, I want to see." Jesus told him, "Go your way, your faith has saved you." Immediately he received his sight and followed him on the way. The Gospel of the Lord. It's a powerful story, and we could take it along any number of lines. I mean, there's one in my mind right now. It's a story of social exclusion versus inclusion. We see, look, when the son of Timaeus, when Bartimaeus first encounters Jesus and the crowd, look at how the crowd treats him. And this is exactly as we can imagine it, I think, because we're all familiar with people who make themselves a nuisance in our lives. Maybe, if not, maybe you're the nuisance. No, we understand this dynamic, right? We're all about our thing. We're doing our thing, and then someone comes along who is pulling us away from the thing that we thought that we were about. And this is Timaeus. He's slowing down the crowd, right? We're now marching to Jerusalem with Jesus. We're on our way. We're doing our thing. We're going to glory. And who cares about this blind beggar? It's got nothing to do with our story, right? So why doesn't he just be quiet? Why can't he just go away? And we see that in the crowd. But there's something really remarkable that we probably don't pick up when we look at this story first glance, right? Is that we know this man's name. We know this man's name. He's Bartimaeus. He's son of Timaeus. Why do we know his name? Because he joined the crowd. He joined, in fact, Jesus' disciples, such that when this account is being written, it could well be him who is offering the account to be recorded. And if he's offering the account, he's made his way to the inner circle of Jesus' faithful followers. So at the beginning, they're just like, "Get this guy out of here." But now we see he follows Jesus on the way. We all know who he is. This is his story. This is his origin story, right, of how he came to encounter Jesus, mercy, healing, forgiveness, and how he came to follow Jesus and came to be one of our own. It's a really tremendous turnaround, and it ought to give us pause, especially in our own social arrangements, right? Who are we choosing to be friends with today? Who do we consider to be a nuisance today? And really the reality is that we ought to look around and simply see who it is God is calling us to serve with love today. God is calling us to give ourselves away in his service by loving the people that he has summoned to us today, that he has caused to cross our paths today, right? The reason why any one of us is in here, and for our school children, anyone is in your class, in your school, sitting next to you in your classroom, your teacher, all the people who work in the school and all the rest. It's because God has ordained it so. God has called you into that space. And so then it's not terribly important, all the different things that might distract us from our task to love the people that God has entrusted to our care. What matters most is that we entrust ourselves to God, and that we love the people that he has brought to us. Right? This is one of the great turnarounds in the gospel, and I'm glad that we could see it today to have that encouragement. Of course, Jesus' interaction with Bartimaeus is at the heart of the scene And this is for us too, really profound. Really, it's a really good story as it relates to how we are to interact with Jesus as well. Because when Jesus calls Bartimaeus and asks him, "What would you have me do for you?" This is the second time in quick succession that we've seen Jesus ask that question. Right? We saw, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, because I can't keep track of time, but we heard Jesus talk to his apostles along the way, to James and John, and say, "What would you have me do for you?" And what did they say? Did they say, "Jesus, we want you to make us the fully flourishing human beings that you've called us to be. We want you to enable us to love others as you love us"? No, they said, "We want power and authority and glory for ourselves. We want power for ourselves. So we want something else. We want to feel good about this and that and the other. We want to be in charge." Right? And here a blind beggar shows them up, because he wants to see. And what does Jesus say to him? He says, "Your faith has saved you." What does it mean that his faith has saved him, but that he has entrusted himself to Jesus? He has given himself to Jesus. He knows that Jesus has the power to set him free from his affliction so that he might give his whole life for the gospel. And today we can make that same prayer with courage and faith. Right? We bring our whole selves to Jesus and we pledge ourselves to his service. And then our prayer is that we can follow him wherever he goes. And today, because we make that prayer, he's giving us the strength and the courage to do exactly that.